we had to get rid of our canopy, our bed canopy, because we had mosquito bedding version, and I have asthma, so dust collected on canopy does not equal to asthma not being there. So Zach literally tore off the canopy. He used a knife and ripped it off. But in the progress of doing that, because though I love my husband, he's not the most brightest person in the book, dust got everywhere. Like, I had an asthma attack yesterday, practically. Not really, it wasn't that bad. Surprisingly, it wasn't that bad. When I used to clean my room down in Florida, I would have an asthma attack. It would always be severe. But surprisingly, yesterday, it wasn't that terrible. So, but it did leave a nice thin / depending where you're at, thick layer of dust all over the room. Even on my computer while I was on it, while he was doing it. I was like, dust all over my keyboard. I'm like, no! So I am now tasked to clean the entire room, because that's the purpose of why we got rid of the canopies, to get rid of the dust for my asthma to clear up a little bit, my allergies. I have a lot of work to do. I mean, if you guys haven't seen my room, like, there's stuff everywhere. There's books everywhere. There's councils everywhere. There's clothes everywhere. We had a slightly bigger room in Florida, so we don't have a lot of room for our stuff from Florida in here. This Stark flag. It's all up in my business. That's why our room always looks like a clutter, because we don't like to leave things down in the basement in boxes, because we have rats in the basement, and we also have it gets really dampish, so it smells like mold. So I had to get rid of a lot of my old, like, Lolita dresses that I used to wear, because I left them down there, and now they just, no matter how many washes you put them through, smell like mold. That's the story of my life. So we're trying to, at least I'm going to be trying to clean up the room. Zach does a terrible job when I ask him to do any chores, whatever they are. So I didn't get any cleaning done, like I said in the beginning of this video. It's the same day. I mean, I still have a chance of cleaning later. I just got distracted because I haven't been checking my emails lately. Basically, if anyone sends me free items or want to email me for particular reasons, I usually get back to those. But on my emails, I also have a lot of YouTubers I'm subscribed to as well, and videos to watch, and I've been kind of neglecting that lately. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm still getting used to the 7 to 4 schedule. So that is what I was doing instead of cleaning the room today. I was trying to catch up on my my YouTube emails. I want to tell you guys a little bit about my psychiatrist appointment. So I am seeing her every 2 months to every 3 months now. I'm going to be seeing her in June, on June 4th. So now it's going up to 3 months because I'm doing okay on my medications. I didn't go up in my lamotrigine like I mentioned in my last vlog. I thought I was going to, but Zach actually, which is surprising because he's usually the one trying to get me as sane-minded as possible, he didn't want me to go up in lamotrigine quite yet because he thinks the reason why I'm having these loose borderline episodes is because he's been having issues with his grieving process over his grandmother. And when he has his grieving process can be a little bit awkward. He grieves, but he gets really violent, not like physical or verbal. You can tell he's giving you a lot of attitude almost constantly. And I have a problem with handling other people's grieving problems because I am schizophrenic with borderline, or schizoaffective as you would call it. I do not process emotions like regular sane people do. I'm not saying I'm insane. That means I don't process things normally. When someone passes away, for me, I don't get emotional about it. When I get emotional about pets passing away, but people, I actually become extremely apathetic about it. I'm completely not emotional about it. Doesn't mean I don't love that person. I just don't show the proper emotions during proper times on a lot of occasions. This is actually normal for people with my sort of disorder. We don't express our emotions properly. For another example, which happens to me quite often and which really messes up Zach a lot, is when I'm angry, I can still laugh and smile, but I'm actually extremely angry and I can't control my laughter or my smiling. So when he thinks that we're playing around and I'm actually getting angry about it, I'm still laughing and smiling, so he gets confused and thinks that it's still okay to continue to pester me the way he's doing. And eventually it kicks in to my borderline episode. I can be just angry at first, and I'll be warning him, like, I'm getting angry, but I'm still laughing and smiling, so he's not taking it literally. And it will kick into a borderline episode, and there we go. So there we go, the records. I can't control after that. And that's what's been going on a lot lately, is he's been giving snapping attitudes, and I'm trying to handle it properly, but I can't handle it completely properly. I've been very patient about it. It's been about 3 to 4 weeks now. He's going through it and a little bit abnormally than he would normally do, that I've seen. So it's just taking little time. So he thinks it's him, and I kind of can see it because it only started happening after his grandmother passed. So it's like I'm trying my best to be patient, but when my episodes kick in, I can't control what happens during them. And he hasn't been able to properly take care or handle the episodes as he would normally do as a husband and a caretaker. So that's what's been going on. So he doesn't want me to go on the Limorcher or any higher on the Limorcher quite yet until he thinks he can figure it out, which I'll give him until the next 3 months. Other than that, I talked to her about why she never actually asked about my past. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last few vlogs. I think I did at one point. She said the reason for that is because psychiatrists normally they listen to what your episodes are like, and then they prescribe you the medication to see if that quiets down those particular things. Usually therapists and counselors actually respond to your bringing up your past and everything, because they give you the coping mechanisms to go through your past experience or traumas. Now, I don't have a lot of traumas. The reason why I brought it up to begin with is I wanted to make sure she knew all the assortments of issues I've had with my life or my episodes, or kind of had. Like, I've had catatonic episodes. I actually went through the one that lasted almost 2 days, just 2 days ago. Well, it was 2 days ago, because yesterday was kind of getting out of it. And that led to a deep, deep depression episode, which I haven't experienced in like 5 months because I'm a Limorcher. I brought up a few other things I actually never really mentioned on my channel that I do. Mainly because I don't know how to bring it up in a video, and like I don't know other what would I say, other side effects of my disorders. I wouldn't know even how to bring it up. But some of these things I wasn't even sure what were the cause of these issues. For example, I would shuffle my hands together a lot. I do that a lot, especially when I'm sitting down or there's just days where I'm relaxing. I'll start doing that a lot, and I'll start twitching a lot, and it never bothered me, but I've done it most of my life. And sorry for the terrible lighting. The sun is just always in my vlog. So I do that a lot, and I asked her what it was, because I can never figure out what it was. Was it a nerve issue that I was having? Was it an extent of energy that I was just putting out somehow? And I never controlled it when I did my hand shuffling. It just happened. Like, I just did it. And she said actually that it's a compulsion issue, but it was a compulsion thing. And I said that makes sense, and that reminded me of my other things that I do, such as I check my phone at least 5 to 10 times within a minute before I go to bed, because I keep thinking that my phone is off or on vibrate or not turned up or the alarms are not on. And it's like after I did it, I'll forget about it, and I'll go back to it, and I'll forget about it, and go back to it, and forget about it, and go back to it. I do that all within a minute. And another thing I do is when I'm at a store or anywhere outside of my house, I always check my pockets. Like, I always pat my pockets to make sure everything's in my pocket. I do that. She said that's all compulsion. I'm like, so you're saying I have a bit of OCD? She's like, I'm saying you have a bit of OCD. I'm like, that makes sense. Because I'm always also at Walmart fixing their shelves and reorganizing them. I get irritated when people try to tell me not to do it. For those who do not know, that doesn't mean I'm just OCD. Doesn't mean that I am schizophrenic, borderline, OCD. It actually means a lot of times when you have certain disorders such as schizophrenia or borderline, there are a lot of times that you show episodes or links to other disorders. For example, there's a lot of times where schizophrenics have OCD tendencies, where they start organizing and do compulsions and stuff like that. It's normal for people who with such disorders, such as personality disorders and mood disorders that are more heavily induced, I would say, because they affect people's lives a lot more drastically, to have these other type of issues, but they won't diagnose you with those issues all the time because it can be linked to those disorders, if that makes any sense at all. So I just wanted to let you guys know about some things that I do that do come from my disorders, but I really don't know how to bring up in my videos. I don't know how to how would I even title it? So it is Thursday. I have some updated news already. So my parents were trying to sell my grandmother's house because she's no longer available to stay in the house because she's handicapped and she has to stay at a home. For about a year now, they've been trying to sell that house. It's kind of really run down, had mold all over it. Well, they finally sold the house, and they finally got a whole bunch of money from the house. So they were able to pay off some of the rent and some of their bills and some of their credit cards, and they still had a lot of money left. So I come home after having a really rough day, by the way, yesterday. After I picked up Zach, he got off late from work, about 40 minutes. And we went to the gym, and then he was having troubles with his phone and Spotify, and I was fixing it for him. And then my dad texts me saying, hey, we're going to take you guys out to dinner. How long are you going to take? And I said, well, about an hour and a half because we just got the gym. He's like, well, I need you to shorten that. We only got to stay there for 30 minutes. I really didn't get to work out, which kind of aggravated me. And we come home after having to go through some heavy traffic getting home. And my mom comes around the kitchen wall. Let me place this. She's like, you need to clean your room. I'm like, why? The cats destroy everything in my room? Because usually what that means is they lock my cats in my room and they destroy everything in my room. She says, she pulls out a ferret. I started bawling my eyes up right away because I used to have two ferrets. One was named Yuki and one was named Jasper. And Yuki was my all-white albino ferret, and Jasper was my normal tone-colored ferret. Well, I was absolutely heartbroken when they passed away. Like, I was really messed up, and really messed up my episodes during that time period. And I was really broken. I was just not prepared for a long time, and that was years ago. That was about 4 to 5 years ago when that happened. And for some reason, as of the last few months, I have no idea. I haven't shed a tear for those couple years since. And all of a sudden, I started breaking down about it. I started crying a lot about it. I have no idea why. So either way, I was missing my ferrets. And so seeing that ferret literally broke me down again. And she looked exactly like Yuki. She has the really bright red eyes and the white coat. And we named her Khaleesi because we're big Game of Thrones fans. She's only like 4 months old. We were all excited, but we had to go out to eat. So my mom even bought a cage and food. I was really surprised about it because my parents we're suffering a little bit when it comes to financial. So I was really aggravated because they had went out yesterday and we're gonna buy a whole bunch of stuff. I was like, you guys, we're suffering through this financial problem. Your shop that you own is not making enough money to give you a paycheck to get rent or have rent, and you're going out and buying stuff. That really aggravated me because, like, you should be getting your stuff together right now. And that's just the way I think. That's just because I've been seeing how much we suffer. I've been suffering too. So here and then we're going to go out, and they were out for all day. And then coming home, but seeing that really, like, it made my day, but it was still, I'm a little aggravated still, regardless of their generosity. I'm happy that I have the ferret, don't get me wrong. I'm just aggravated that they went off, and, we need to be able to live in a house. It doesn't matter how many pets we have. If we can't have a place for them to stay because you can't pay rent, or we can't all pay rent, then what good is it? But either way, I will always find a way to take care of my pets before myself. But So we come home after dinner, because they did take us out. They took us all learning. And found 2 fleas on her. 2 freaking fleas. And this is the same pet store that I got Anubis from that had ringworm, fleas, an eye infection, and hookworm. So I'm like, I can't believe this store even exists right now. I'm going to the vet to see if they have any ferret flea medicine. I know that it exists. I looked it up last night to see if my vet has it. If not, I know you can use cat version ones of like Advantage or Frontline, but you have to use a very small bit on them, like a super small bit. And those things can be a little bit hard to control. Sometimes you just pop them open, it goes all over the freaking pet. So I want to see if they have a ferret one instead, so I can better manage that. And then I'm gonna buy 2 cat ones to prevent Barbosa and Anubis from getting it, because they're going to be constantly around her cage. So that's the deal right now. I wanted to give you guys a little update. So if you see a not that big, ferret cage in my room, you guys are updated as to what happened. So that's why I look like a hot mess. I'm like, this is probably going to be the only time today I'm going to vlog, except for later. Alright, so it's still Thursday. I just mentioned earlier this morning about my ferret. I called my vet, because when I got there, it was closed, but there were people inside. I got there like 7, but they open at 7:30, and it's like 30 degrees out in the morning, so I was like, I'm not staying in my car. I decided to head home, but I was calling them while I was heading home. And I don't know what's going on with my vet lately, but the receptionist, I'm guessing she's a receptionist, I guess you would call her, answered the phone, kind of gave attitude when I was talking to her. I asked her, she said, may I help you and everything like that, so I was like, okay, I can talk to her. Because I was assuming if it's not open, they just won't answer, and I won't have no problem with it. If they answer, then they'll answer my question real quick, which was if they had any ferret flea medicine. I asked her, she's like, well, we don't deal with ferrets, so I can give you our sister vet in Cartersville, which is about 10 to 20 minutes away from me. And I said, okay, well, can you just answer me a question? Because the reason what I was about to ask, I was thinking that every vet would normally know a little bit of something about different animals, so they have a little bit of knowledge to answer people's questions if they don't want to go to the vet, just want to answer a few questions. For one, before that even happened, when I asked her about the ferret medicine, she's like, well, we're not even open, but I can pull up your charts. I'm like, well, if you're not open, then I don't answer the fucking phone. She said, no, they have my sister, they take care of ferrets at our sister vet, which also bothered me because usually when vets take in rabbits, they take in ferrets because they're of the exotic brand. But my vet does take in rabbits, but they don't take in ferrets. So I was just like a little startled about that. I'm like, now I have to go all the way to Cartersville to go to a vet for my ferret, for my one animal. I'm like, okay. But then I'll just plan on looking around to see if there's any other vets. But either way, I asked her, I was like, no, I just have one question. That's where I came up with the thought that maybe some vets will have some answers for different animals, because I would assume that they would have some, just some information. I asked her if certain cat flea medicines are okay for ferrets as long as they're given on a very small dosage, because I had read that up looking through online, because I always research stuff beforehand so I know what I'm talking about when I'm asking questions. And she's like, well, again, we don't take in ferrets, so I don't have the information for you. I'm like, okay, thanks. It just kind of angered me. I was like, I just figured, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I just figured if you're a vet, even if you don't take in certain animals, shouldn't you be a little bit, even the tiniest bit knowledgeable about something, so just in case someone just has a legit question, like, hey, do you know anything about this? Well, I do know that they can take this, but we don't stock that stuff, and you should first go to here instead. Something like that. I just, presumed. My mother used to work as a vet tech, so I just, she knew a little bit about everything, so I guess I just, put too high ground on that. Anyway, I did end up calling the other vet. I didn't want to drive all the way there, not because I don't want to take care of my ferret. I wouldn't even take her with me. I would just be getting going there to pick up the flea medicine kind of situation, because she won't need to be brought there. She has fleas. I don't need you to diagnose it, make me pay $30 to $40, even $90 just for you to tell me that I already know. I just need the medication, because they do sell it too on the sideline. I asked them, do you have any ferret medication? Well, we don't have ferret medication, but we do know that ferrets can take in or have the topical, the one that goes on the neck, of cat medication of resolution. I'm like, revolution. I was like, okay, now I know what I'm looking for at least. I asked if it was possible if I can get it from Advantage, because Revolution doesn't get sold at Walmart, but I think they're selling it at Petco, which is I'm going to right now. They said the old brand of Advantage, which I didn't know there was a new brand, the ferrets can have a small amount of on their backs as well. So I was like, okay, at least I have a second thing, because I'm pretty sure with my old ferrets, we used Advantage at one point, because our vets around our old house back then, none of them took ferrets, and when they did, it wasn't to give them flea medicine, so it was to like do everything else, which I actually had to end up doing at one point, not for flea medicine, but for something else. But anyway, so currently I'm heading to my Petco, the one that sold the ferrets. It has a flea infection to begin with, which I'm going to actually talk to them about. I'm such a lovely person. And when I say talk, when something angers me, I'm not a very nice person about it. I try to be professional, but you can tell there's a bit of attitude behind it, because you're ignorant. You're ignorant that you're like, how do you get, I don't have anything to say to this. Me and my mother had a big discussion about it this morning, and she was pissed, because she was the one who bought the ferret, or adopted the ferret. She said in the cases there's tiny holes on the top, and they're locked. The glass thing is locked, plastic thing is locked. So it's almost impossible to get fleas in there from other animals in the store. And she only had 2 on her entire body. She's an albino ferret. You can tell when there's fleas on her, like legit. I noticed it almost right away when I actually got to sit down and spend time with her. I was like, there's fleas on her. I found only 2. I checked her entire body. I only found 2. Which is a good thing, but she didn't have any flea poop. That means she just got the fleas just recently, which is great. That means we can kill it off almost immediately. But you gotta wonder how she got the fleas then, because did she get it from wherever company or place that sends the ferrets in? And let's even talk about the fact that this Petco is the one that I got Anubis from, and he had a whole bunch of ailments, which I mainly blame Humane Society for, because I heard from my vet that following month that the Humane Society I got my cat from had a stock of kittens that had ringworm that I had to bring in. And because of that, I had to go to another vet to pick up the medication, because they took all the stock. That's how many the kittens that had a ringworm. So I have beef with the Humane Society around here. I just personally want to punch them in the face. How do you ignore that? And what's worse is when we were there purchasing Anubis, I asked about those markings, and they said it was flea bite infections that they took care of. It did not look like flea bite infections. This was literally scaling around his tail, not like along around the base of his tail, and on his neck and on his back. And I'm like, this doesn't look like an infection, but I wanted to believe them because they're supposed to know their shit. So anyway, I have beef, but I also kind of blame the Petco for not saying, your animal kind of looks sickly, can you please take care of the animal? What? Oh, stick, that's a big ass branch. I was like, why is that guy moving? Because he's a big truck. I didn't see he was moving for that reason. Anyhow, I was, you expect them to say, the pet store to say, man, that cat looks sickly, you should take them in before you bring them here so they can be properly taken care of. So when they're adopted to good people, not someone who might bring them back saying, ew, it's sick. Because unfortunately, that's how some of the world is. So that's my beef. Right now I'm going to the Petco, grabbing some Revolution. If not, I'll grab Advantage, the kitten stuff, since it's a little bit more sensitive. And I'm going to grab it for 2 of my cats, as I said earlier. And it should be good for that. Hopefully everything goes down right. I'll try to film my ferret. She's quite a rambunctious little thing. She's constantly moving, so filming her will be hard. I tried taking a picture for my friend and sending to her. That was the hardest thing I've ever did in my life. Getting those fleas off of her while she was squirming was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. So, yeah.